Starting with you, Gianni, since you're on camera with me. What is your hot take of the week?
My hot take of the week is going to be baseball related. I think the Seattle Mariners, like I said, in the Stickball Central, I think they're going to get the last wild card spot, and they're going to be probably pretty dangerous entering the playoffs.
It's been 20 years
Yeah,
since they've
20
last been
years.
in the playoffs.
They
So
were
I think
close last season.
yeah, they were very close last season. So if they can find a way to finally get into the playoffs this year and into the wild card, I think that would do wonders for the morale of that Seattle franchise. Because they've honestly been through it. They went through it last year. It was heartbreaking last year to lose that the way they did.
Yeah, solid hot
Um,
take.
all right, TK, you're next for hot takes. What is yours for this week?
Uh, you know what? I guess I'll go through the NBA. And before I say my hot take, PC, because you're gonna go crazy on me. I just want you to hear me out. All right. So we all know that Kevin Durant is gonna get traded. Kyrie Irving is gonna get traded. I personally think that even though the Nets are saying they're not going to trade Ben Simmons, I personally think they're gonna end up trading Ben Simmons. So here's my hot take. Ladies and gentlemen, could you imagine? Just forget the triple threat. But could you imagine a duo of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid in a Sixers jersey with Doc Rivers as the head coach? Ladies and gentlemen, my hot take for the week. Ben Simmons is going to be traded to the Philadelphia 76ers, and we are going to see the greatest duo that we have ever seen in the NBA with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. That is my hot take for the week. Let's move on.
We were doing so good. We were
PC,
doing
I
so
love you,
good
bro.
with not trolling the entire episode. Like, recording time is great.
PC,
Yeah,
PC, I
show's
love
been
you,
moving
bro. I
so
love
smoothly, and
you.
you just couldn't resist, could you? You just couldn't
I
resist.
had to, bro. Look, Tolu's not here tonight. I did that. That was a shout out to Tolu. But in all seriousness, all right. So me and John had a conversation earlier today, bro. And ladies and gentlemen, I personally don't think that this whole Josh McDaniels and Oakland and not Oakland, but Las Vegas Raiders, I don't think it's going to go as good as everybody thinks. Last time we saw Josh McDaniels as a head coach for my Denver Broncos, we all saw how that just terribly ended up. Ended up getting fired after like a year or two. Ended up having going back to the Pats, and then he got a second job. I can't remember. I think it was the Indianapolis Colts, to where he took the job, then realized that he wasn't built for a head coach job, and then went back on his decision to be the head coach for the Colts. I think it was the Colts, right? Was it the Colts? He had a head coaching job opportunity where he took the
Yeah,
job,
it
and
was
then
the Colts, and then he
okay, so yeah,
reversed it. Yep.
okay, so yeah, so it was the Colts. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this. I personally think that this whole Josh McDaniels and Las Vegas Raiders thing is just not going to work out the way that it is. And I think in about 2 or 3 years, Josh McDaniels will be fired from his job as a head coach of the Oakland Raiders, because that offense, I think we can all agree it should be a top 5 offense. I don't even think they're going to be a top 10 to 15 offense. I think they're going to be that. I just do not believe in Josh McDaniels, bro. I do not believe in Josh McDaniels at all. I think that he's personally going to try to take that Patriots offense scheme, and he's going to try to bring that to the Oakland Raiders, and that's just really not going to work in the AFC West alone, in the AFC as a whole. So I think that they do. That I think that this team is not going to make the playoffs this year. And I think that people are going to finally realize that maybe Josh McDaniels isn't that guy after just year one of him being a head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Denver
That's my
Broncos.
hot take of the week.
All right, Sean,
You know what?
what is your hot take for this week?
So I also have an AFC West based hot take, and PC actually alluded to it earlier. PC, when we were talking about the best rosters in the NFL, do you remember the honorable mention you named?
It was the Los Angeles Chargers.
It
Yes.
was the Los Angeles Chargers. Yes, I think I agree with you that the Chargers have one of the best rosters in the NFL. They have a great quarterback, and in my opinion, they have an underrated head coach. A lot of people hate on him for how last season ended. I don't think he's that bad of a coach. I think he just needed some more talent on the deep end. And with that, my hot take is I think the Chargers will win the AFC West. They will finish ahead of the Chiefs, ahead of the Broncos, and ahead of the Raiders. And Brandon Staley will be the coach of the year. I think all of that, their defense, you mentioned they added Khalil Mack, they added J.C. Jackson, they added some solid defensive tackles. Justin Herbert's only going to get even better. They improved the offensive line. I think the Chargers are in for a great season, and Brandon Staley is going to prove the haters wrong.
Okay. So for my hot take this week, I'm going to piggyback off of last week because last week, you know what? Last week it woke something in me. Um, I'm going to try my best not to turn this into the shouting match that was last week. But it does pertain to the Ben Simmons and James Harden trade that happened in the middle of the season last season. I'm going to try and provide the best reasoning for my hot take in this case. So Ben Simmons is not cut to be the guy anywhere on any team if he is the first or second option. And yeah, it may have been different. The levels may have been different if he was going to be, just a role player guy who could play great defense and play make a little bit on offense, but that's not going to be the case. He's going to have to be the man. Well, Ben Simmons don't want to be the man. Spoiler alert for anybody that thinks Ben Simmons is, just getting into his prime or whatever. That's not who Ben Simmons is. Take it from the guy who has watched him ever since he has came to Philadelphia, drafted to Philadelphia. I've tried to watch Ben Simmons grow and improve as a player, and he constantly, continuously disappointed me and millions of Philadelphia fans. He's already doing that for Brooklyn fans. So for my hot take for this week, while I don't think he'll be out of the league, I do think Ben Simmons is going to ultimately get what he wants in the next 1 to 2 seasons. And that is going to be trading. He is about to be traded to a California-based team like the Kings. And he's going to be in California full time. So he could be a phase member and he can somewhat average decent enough numbers to be a bench warmer on the Kings. That's my hot take for this week. I don't think he's going to be out of the league. I put that on my mind. Maybe I'm a bit harsh. I don't think he's going to be out of the league. But I do think that he is going to be a bench warmer for the Sacramento Kings in the next 1 to 2 seasons. Because he's not that guy. Ben Simmons is simply not that guy. I'm sorry to the people that think Ben Simmons still has potential. I'm tired of getting guys like Ben Simmons the benefit of the doubt because he constantly always expects something and never returns the benefit of the doubt. That is my hot take for this week.